Now we will talk about healthy and pathological gait. Before talking about what is a pathological gait, we need to check four requirements of walk. The first one is each leg is able to support the body weight. The second is the balance is maintained in both single and double stance phase. The third is swinging leg can advance to a position where it is able to take over the supporting task. And the last one is sufficient power is provided for the necessary movement of the limbs and trunk. A person who has normal gait meets this requirement without problems. However, the person who has pathological gait will show abnormal movement patterns and excessive energy consumption, or the person should use a walking aid such as crutches and orthosis to meet the requirements. As locomotion is a complicated process, there are a lot of reasons of the pathological gait. It is caused by pain and problems with brain, spinal cord, nerves, muscles, joints, and skeleton. In other words, the pathological gait is caused by neuromuscular and body structural problems. We can observe the abnormality of the gait in hip, knee, ankle, and foot in gait cycle. That means we can determine the pathological gait with gait parameters and determinants. There are various types of pathological gait. In this seminar, I will show three categories frequently observed: hip problem, functional leg length discrepancy, and abnormal foot contact. If you have problem with hip structure or muscles around hip, the trunk is bended excessively in lateral, anterior, and posterior directions. Lateral bending happens during the double stance period when the hip abductor is weak. To compensate for the weakness of hip abductor, the trunk is bended. Anterior bending occurs in the initial contact because of weak quadriceps. The posterior bending also occurs in the initial contact, but this is because of the weakness of hip extensors. We will see the video on the following link. We can see this abnormality with joint angles of spines in XN MVN Studio. For example, we can see the L5-S1 joint near the pelvis and T9-T8 joint behind the chest. For the lateral bending, we need to focus in the upper two graphs in the double stance phase. For anterior posterior bending, we need to see the lower two graphs in the initial contact. The next one is functional leg length discrepancy. This problem is caused by different lengths of the leg. It does not mean the leg length is really different. The joint extension and flexion are repeated, and the leg length should be changed, being longer and shorter than the other leg at the right timing. But if it does not work in the right timing, it makes problems, such as circumduction, hip hiking, steppage, and vaulting. Circumduction and vaulting will be explained with extend systems, and we will see the video of hip hiking and steppage. For the circumduction, we will focus on the graph of the hip joint, which is in the red box. Circumduction is the combination of abduction, adduction, and flexion extension. So we will check two lines, red and blue. We can see the circumduction, we can see the outward swing leg, and increasing toe out angle. It looks like the ankle is rotated but the circumduction movement is possible for the hip joint. So we have to check the hip joint. This is caused by weakness of hip flexors, so that the leg lengths are not short enough during swing phase. The vaulting is the movement of early heel rise in stance phase. For this, we can check the ball foot angle graph in the red box. The previous three abnormality is a swing phase modification. The vaulting is a stance phase modification. It is caused by hamstring weakness and early knee extension during swing phase. You can easily find that it happens to the normal leg of an above knee amputee who fails to flex the knee. Now we move on abnormal foot contact. I will explain three types of abnormalities. The first is extreme dorsiflexion. This is caused by spasticity of the anterior tibial muscles. The second is a fixed plantar flexion, caused by spasticity of the plantar flexus. The last one is excessive lateral or medial foot contact, caused by foot deformity. This avatar shows the normal contact with the left foot. There are two graphs for dorsiflexion and plantar flexion for the left and the right ankle in the top right and bottom right, respectively. As you see the avatar's right leg, this is the extreme dorsiflexion. You can see the higher dorsiflexion at the initial contact in the graph on the right bottom. This avatar makes the initial contact with a fixed plantar flexion. And you can see excessive plantar flexion at the initial contact in the graph on the right bottom. This is the excessive lateral foot contact. The two graphs are for abduction-adduction graph for the left and right ankle on the right top and right bottom respectively. The excessive abduction is made at the initial contact on the right bottom graph. This is the end of the video, and this page shows the reference. Most of the contents of gait determinants and pathologic gait are from the book Gait Analysis and Introduction, written by Michael Whistler, published in 2014. And I also referred the user guide of MVN Biomech and my article published in 2018. Thank you. I hope this video is helpful for you. Bye.